It is time to take a step back, since we have now dedicated several video reviews to the topic of alternate World War II stories, with the victorious Axis as its main uniting plot point. On the one hand, I wanted to make one of the typical ranking lists that I have uploaded related to a couple of book series in the past. On the other hand, I knew that it is quite difficult to directly compare these books, and I also had some lingering thoughts that I wanted to get out of the way in some kind of retrospective/rambling video. In the end, I have settled to do a mix of both. Just to be clear, the following video will contain massive spoilers related to Philip K. Dick's The Man in the High Castle, Otto Basil's The Twilight Men, also known as Wenn das der Führer wüsste, Robert Harris' Fatherland, Christian von Ditfurth's Killing Himmler, also known as Der 21. Juli, and Andreas Eschbach's NSA, Nationales Sicherheits-Amt. You have been warned. Proceed at your own risk. Oh, and if you wish to watch the videos in the book review format of these novels, I will link them in the video and in the info box. To begin, I will venture into a sort of subjective rating and ranking of the 5 aforementioned novels. However, rather than just going through a list reflecting my personal biases, I think it is paramount to subdivide these novels into different categories, since they may share some plot points but are vastly different and will therefore be interesting to people looking for different things. First, there is the category of novels that focuses on creating and describing a world with a completely different, some would even say alien, moral framework. The Man in the High Castle, written by Philip K. Dick, is a prime example here. The other one would be Otto Basil's The Twilight Men, which manages to caricaturize how a world with a completely unrestrained totalitarian ideology such as National Socialism could look like. This type of satirical take has also been realized in video games such as the recent Wolfenstein series or movies such as Iron Sky, for instance. The main point of these books is not to paint a realistic or plausible picture of a world with an alternative outcome of World War II, or to depict a realistic, alternate Cold War between the German and Japanese superpowers. Instead, it is an exploration of the aforementioned alternative moral frameworks. The Man in the High Castle offers several of these. Social Darwinism as imposed by racially focused NS ideology, to a lesser extent forms of East Asian/Japanese philosophy, and even glimpses of another alternate world continuing on the road of colonial imperialism championed by a resurgent British Empire. However, if what you are looking for is, for a lack of a better word, complete and utter madness, comparable to the aforementioned Wolfenstein or Iron Sky, with a dash of Dr. Strangelove, then Otto Basil's The Twilight Men shines in comparison to Philip K. Dick's more restrained The Man in the High Castle. The second category encompasses books that prioritize a plausible setting rather than the completely different moral frameworks. These novels often depict scenarios involving a victorious, or at least undefeated, Germany competing with the United States and to a varying degree the Soviet Union in an alternate Cold War. However, not a Cold War on the brink of nuclear annihilation, but rather during times of easing of tensions and the competing goals of different factions within the various superpowers. To be fair, Philip K. Dick's The Man in the High Castle also exhibits some of these plot points, but it is not the main focus. The novels Fatherland, written by Robert Harris, and Christian von Ditfurth's Killing Himmler are the two notable contenders in this second category. Both are worth a read, but the latter novel places a heightened emphasis on plausibility, making it a central element of its storyline. So if that is what you're looking for, then Killing Himmler is definitely the book for you. In a category of its own is Andreas Eschbach's NSR, standing out as a unique book that serves as a cautionary tale focusing on the dangers of digital technologies in the wrong hands, namely a totalitarian government. The result is complete societal surveillance, eradicating any notions of privacy once and for all. This infiltrates even the most intimate realms, such as your own personal will and thoughts, making the classic German folk song Die Gedanken sind frei, thoughts are free, obsolete. As such, Eschbach's NSR is definitely worth a read, but if viewed through the lens of alternate World War II, it might disappoint some prospective readers. Finally, I want to highlight one point that I have encountered several times in the hobby historian bubble, for lack of a more precise term. That is the notion that there could have only been one single ending to World War II and that the Axis could have never won, which is obvious as it already ended decades ago. Apart from this trivial argument that history cannot be changed, I can somewhat understand these notions, since there have been a lot of historically wildly implausible scenarios that were used to quote-unquote sell an alternate World War II. But it is equally short-sighted to deny that there was simply a 0% chance. In my view, these errors already start with the definition of what an Axis victory would have looked like. What if Germany in 1941 did not invade the Soviet Union and did not declare war on the United States after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor? Would have the British Empire been able to liberate Europe on its own? By the way, this would probably be an interesting setting for an alternate history, even though its core assumption and premise is just inaction from the German side. In any case, if you assume that conquering the whole world, including North America, is the only valid victory condition, then yes, I agree, most alternate World War II history, such as The Man in the High Castle, is simply unrealistic, without any further discussion about this. But as previously mentioned, there are also books, such as Killing Himmler, which managed to paint a more plausible picture, not least due to the fact that several driving factors to completely occupy Germany disappeared prior to Allied troops reaching German soil. Overall, it is probably the borderline brazen self-confidence with which the aforementioned claims are made, without any sufficient prior definition of what constitutes a victory, which rubs me the wrong way. Well, these have been my thoughts related to the wider topic and subgenre of alternate World War II novels. I hope that you could identify some new books to put on your reading list and that you will enjoy reading these books, regardless of which you may have ultimately chosen. If you liked this video, you may also enjoy the other reviews and content on my channel. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to discuss the novels or if you want to suggest other books that I should review in the future. Please consider upvoting and subscribing, it is much appreciated. Thank you for watching and until next time.